What do we mean by this? Absolute contraindications, a medical practitioner is always told and is constantly advised and is mandated not and never to give contraceptives in these patients. Pero meron ding relative contraindication. Yung sinasabi natin merong migraine, bibigyan mo ba o hindi? Of course, you look at the patient on a case-to-case perspective. If the patient needs to have birth spacing because of concomitant health illnesses, then the migraine will preclude that. Next slide, please. The contraceptives is being listed in the World Health Organization's core list of essential medicines. And allow me to define why is this so. Bakit ko po ito sinasabi? Because I want to point out and I want to defend not only myself but other doctors as well, that we are not criminals and what we are doing is for the good of our patient. Being listed in the WHO's core list of essential medicines means that you have been tested several times and proven with concrete meta-analysis that you have met the list of minimum medicines needs for basic healthcare system. In fact, this listing reflects that if you are included in the list, and in this case the contraceptives, you have been labeled and is being labeled as the most efficacious, safe, and cost-effective medicine for priority conditions. And priority conditions selected on the basis of current and estimated future public health relevance and potential for safe and cost-effective treatment. Sa madaling sabi po, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleagues, hindi po namin ito gawa-gawa. As doctors, we follow scientific evidence. As doctors, we report possible complications. But as doctors, we rely on medical science as well as personal judgment. Next slide, please. Fact is, the U.S. National Cancer Institute said, and that is true, I agree with what some of my colleagues mentioned, that current users of birth control pills have slightly elevated the risk of developing breast cancer. Prominently, and allow me to emphasize, prominently teenagers using oral contraceptive pills. Madam Speaker, distinguished colleagues, as a medical doctor, we do not give pills to teenagers. We give them to couples who are in need and wanting of this. And further, the conclusion of the study showed, and it mentioned on several occasions, it has been concluded that after stopping oral contraceptives use, the risk returns to same level as if they never used oral contraceptives. And that is the reason why the link cannot be pinpointed. Next slide, please. In addition, breast cancer diagnosed in women with a history of pill use were far less advanced than breast cancer diagnosed in women who never used oral contraceptive pills. Sa madaling sabi po, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleagues, yung mga babaeng na-diagnose na may breast cancer, tinatanong mo, ano ba ang iyong ikaw ba smoker? Ikaw ba umiinom? May family history ka ba? May history ba of pill use? And it has been shown that in patients, even in the Philippines, who have breast cancer, those with a history, ibig sabihin, nakagamit ng more than 2 years of oral contraceptive pills, their cancer is less advanced as compared to the non-users. Kaya nga po, ang World Health Organization, kasama yung ating national agencies, made an analysis and concluded, based on 54 studies involving 53,297 women with breast cancer, involving 100,239 women without breast cancer, and more than 200 researchers participated, which responded to 90%, 90% ng epidemiological studies throughout the world that had involved the possible relationship between pills and breast cancer. Next slide, please. On the other hand, Women Care also made a similar study, and the same conclusion was seen, that risk has not transformed to incidence. Next slide, please. They likewise consider the history of contraceptive pill use, ngunit sinama ang ibang factors. Sinama ang reproductive history, and that is late menopause or early menarche. Sinama ang health history, ibig sabihin yung mga kasamang sakit like diabetes, hypertension, and family history. Because family history has been shown to have the biggest and the strongest link for breast cancer. And what are the results? It has been proven that current or former oral contraceptive pill users did not significantly increase the risk of breast cancer. And I am referring to the list that is being put forward by WHO. The pills that are being used, the new innovations that are being used for acne or dermatological purposes are not included in that list. Kaya hindi po kami ang dapat yung tanungin doon, ang dapat po i-work out na hindi siya gamitin ng mga derma. Next slide, please. This is the method by which we doctors determine either a couple needs contraception. Are we going to permanently sterilize the patient? Of course, it is an informed consent. Ang ibig ko pong sabihin, hindi po kami basta-basta gumagawa ng isang bagay without following guidelines and rules. Meron po kami mga batas na sinusunod, and we are always answerable to our patient and to the society that we belong. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Madam Speaker, distinguished colleagues, why am I pointing to this? I am pointing to this because in the midst of a very emotional issue for both proponents and detractors of the RH bill, I do not stand here right now simply to argue on its merits. That is on a separate forum. Rather, I would like to implore and to beg not only on the members of this august body, but also everyone who is present in this august chamber and all who are listening that we need to deal with this issue on a mature and responsible manner. In the past few years and up to the past few days, we have heard countless of arguments for and against the RH bill, but this has affected on some other way the integrity of the medical professions in which I belong. Some are simple claims needed to establish a premise for an argument, while some appear to be short of accusations which questions the integrity of medical doctors. Madam Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I took this opportunity to speak not only as a practitioner, but also as a doctor who has saved lives of patients, and as a doctor who is concerned for her colleagues who have been thrown accusations right and left. The medical profession deals with a very emotional and sensitive subject. After all, we deal with the lives of our patients, we deal with their health and their very existence. Nothing, I suppose, could be more sensitive than that. I am not glorifying our profession. I am only trying to point out that in the practice of our profession, we follow rules, very stringent rules. And allow me to repeat that the other doctors in this house are well aware that in the practice of our profession, we follow rules, very stringent rules, kung saan nakataya yung buong buhay mo, kung saan nakataya yung future mo, kung saan nakataya ang pangalan at dangal ng pamilya mo. We do this in order to perform our duties and obligations effectively. And on many occasions, our desire to sustain life is constrained by science. We are sometimes constrained by technology, but on many occasions, if not on all occasions, we are bound by medical ethics. Hence, we balance science and morality. We cannot just conduct trial and error experiments in order to come up with our own treatments. We fight against time, we fight against nature, and we have a very limited margin for error. This, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague, is the reason why I find it unfair for other people to throw accusations and name-calling on the very essence of a professional community who has no other intention but to help save lives. In the field of specialization that I have been exposed to, which is obstetrics and gynecology, we give information on methods of family planning. I myself have prescribed contraceptives. To say that contraceptive pills are abortifacients is tantamount to saying that doctors who prescribe them commit medical malpractice. It is akin to saying that we promote or condone abortion. But this is not the case, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague. I have had patients who almost died because of eclampsia, with a third and with a fourth child, with another impending pregnancy. Pagka nabuntis ulit ang nanay, alam mo na yun, posibleng ikamatay niya. And we don't want to promote death. That is why we base it on our stringent rules. We present it to our patient, inform the husband and the wife, give them their choice, and do what we should do on our part. I took my oath, and now I take my oath as a doctor very seriously. And this must not be only me. Lahat po kaming doktor dito. I follow the law and the rules of medical practice and medical ethics. I will not allow induced abortion. Never will I allow it because it is a crime. And as a lawmaker, I will not call for the legalization of abortion. That, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I swear before all of you until I reach my grave. Hanggang mamatay po ako, ipinapaalam ko po sa inyo na I am, and most if not all obstetricians and gynecologists are against all forms of induced abortion. I humbly request for all concerned that before making statements like this, please consider the repercussion on our profession. Please respect doctors much as we respect your own profession. A little exercise of due diligence would be most welcome. Similarly, with regards to the prescription of any medical drug, we doctors consider all the factors. It is important to note that even before any drug can be prescribed, countless of scientific studies can be made. Countless of debates occur. It takes years. Even with the proposals of HIV treatment, hindi po ito binibigay unless it has been proven time and again to be more beneficial compared to the risk it involves. After that, another round of studies will be made, not by the scientists and the medical professionals, but by government agencies on the safety and medical value of the drug. Before doctors can prescribe them, we are informed of all its effects as well as side effects. That is why there are contraindications in all medical drugs, even the most basic ones. We doctors take into consideration the entire physical and medical condition of our patients, including the cost effectiveness. In determining the safety of administering a particular medication, we do it on a case-to-case basis. That is why the medical eye of a doctor is always being developed as your practice evolves. That is also the reason why we do diligently in asking patients for any existing medical condition or other allergies. That is the reason why I find it unfair to claim that we, who follow what our teachers taught us and who follow the claims of the World Health Organization, it is very unfair to say that we disregard the risks that accompany medication since contraceptives have known side effects. All drugs have side effects. There is no perfect drug. Even laughter, which is not a drug, but which is considered the best medicine, has its share of side effects. Di po ba pag tumawa tayo ng tumawa, kakabaging ka sa sakit ng tiyan? O minsan pwedeng sumakit yung tagiliran mo? But this, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleagues, should not result in the stagnation of medical science. This should not result in the stagnation of medical progress. And most importantly, we should not push for the stagnation of the preservation of human lives. We doctors can only do so much. In the same vein, scientists who develop pharmaceutical products face similar, if not the same exact limitations. There are instances when we still get blamed for undesirable results, notwithstanding the fact that we had done everything we can, and as far as all relevant factors would take us. It is not easy, and please do not make it harder by making statements which would question the integrity and our credibility from the start. And this also transcends into the integrity of our government. We have specialized agencies which are tasked to